Hello everybody and welcome back to SkySaga Alpha 7. We are over here in an adventure and it is time for a tutorial Tuesday. So today we are going to be looking at how much fall damage affects you and how much water breaks your fall from fall damage. Now the reason we're talking about all of this type of stuff is because up here on this island, you guys have probably seen these already, but there are now adventures up in the floating clouds and the floating islands and things. So a lot of the time, the best way to get down from these is to jump down into water, because water does break your fall, at least a little bit. It does reduce the amount of fall damage that you take from a fall. So before we go ahead and jump into various different levels of water from various different heights and work out how much damage you can sustain by jumping from very, very high up, I just want to kind of cover the basics of fall damage a little bit. So fall damage really starts around about 10 blocks. It probably starts just a little bit earlier than that, but 10 blocks is a very easy block count to measure. So there's a 10 block fall here, and if we fall down this, you can see we just take a small amount of damage. From the couple of drops I've done through that already, it's somewhere between 11 and 28 damage from that one 10 block drop. But if you jump into water, each block of water that you jump through slows your fall and therefore reduces the amount of damage that you take. So what I'm going to do, like I kind of mentioned just before, is I'm going to jump into different layers of water heights. So there's actually 3 different layers of water heights down here. There is 1 level of water which you can walk around in, 2 levels which you have to swim in, 3 levels, and then 4 levels down even further. Now, each of these is a new level of source blocks. So this is just 1 source block. This is 2 source blocks because I actually couldn't place a block down there, even though it would. It's letting me target those. And then 3 levels and 4 levels and so on. And if I've got a little bit of time, I will do 1 level of source block with flowing water underneath as well and see how we go. But yeah, so I've got a fair amount of testing to do, and we'll cut back here together when we have some results to talk about, and I can show you guys what's going to work and what isn't. So in front of me is the contraption I've been using to test the fall damage breakability of water. So as you can see, I've had various different levels as I've built up through this thing, and I've jumped off all of them, and I've come to quite a surprising result. So basically, if you jump onto ground or into this 1 block layer of water, so that's this stuff down here, this is actually 1 block deep, like you can't place a block down in here. If you jump onto the ground or into that 1 block deep layer of water, you have exactly the same effect. These things are around about the same. The water maybe takes 10 damage on average off of a fall, but when you start falling from 50 blocks high, you're doing 600 or so damage in 1 shot. So taking the leap into the water and taking that 10 extra damage, 10 less damage, is not really all that beneficial to you. Then, of course, I tested the 2 deep water, so that's this stuff out here. This is the stuff you can actually kind of float around and partially swim in. Now, the reason this tower looks a little bit funky right now is because I got to the 50 block level, and even at 50 blocks, doing 600 points of damage, jumping into 2 deep water negates all damage effects. Now, I then went even further with this, and I built up that white pillar there. So the top of that white pillar is 70 blocks high, and jumping off of that into the 2 deep water, I took absolutely no fall damage. So that would be my advice to you: is you're jumping off of a floating island, or if you're jumping off of something really high, if you can, aim for any water that is at least 2 blocks deep. 3 or 4 blocks is probably going to be in your best interest, but you will survive if you jump into 2 blocks. At the very least, it is going to stop you from taking 600 points of damage. So that is always a good thing, especially when you're jumping from a very, very high place. So yes, that kind of surprised me and caught me a little bit off guard, but that is why I do these tests and do all of these things. So there you go. Now you know how to jump off of a large structure or off of a floating island like that. I hope this helps you guys out, and I'll see you in the next episode.